Welcome to a Thursday night, Woodbine Mohawk Park. It's Randy Waples. I'll be your host tonight on my own to boot. Boy, I'll tell you, take the training wheels off of me. We could be heading just about anywhere tonight. So anyway, we have a really nice night out there for racing. Chad was showing you the conditions out there. Beautiful, beautiful night for racing. A lot of young horses that'll be racing tonight as well. So, you know, maybe not one of the power pack cards that we kind of bring you, but a lot of interesting racing will be going on tonight. A lot of these, say, young horses trying to find their way into the winner's circle for the first time, making season debuts. You know, that's always kind of an exciting time around here too. Just because a horse is the best last year doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to come out and be the best this year, because there's always new ones coming out. And that's what I like about this time of the year, is to see all these different kinds of horses coming out. Some wintered down in Florida, some wintered up here, some, you know, making their first start, some maybe have already got that first start in and now they're going to be making their second start of the year, maybe a little bit more playable too as well. So interesting Thursday night that we have on for you guys tonight. So before we get too into tonight's program, let's talk about something that really excites me. And that is the chance of seeing what could potentially be one of the greatest horses to come around in my generation. That is the great Chantilly. Right there, as you can see. Now, this is her OSS Super Final win from last year. We got a couple of these wins to show you for the great Chantilly. Now, she will be making her first start. Not start, I guess you would call it, qualifier tomorrow morning, 9:30, they do start. Now here she is winning the She's a Great Lady Grand Circuit Stake. Has the very best of the 2-year-old pacing fillies in North America in there, and look at the way that she handled that group. And then our next race we're going to show you too is going to be the Eternal Cam Nation, where this was back on August the 24th, where she was just so powerful. Love the body language, love the pointed ears too. You know, the putting the ears back. She kind of reminds me a little bit of So Much More that way, with the ears back that way, you know, and God help it if a horse ever gets up alongside of her, what she's going to do in there. And that is one very happy winner circle in there. So we cannot wait to see the great Chantilly back at her morning qualifiers tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning. So make sure you tune in, or at least, you know, maybe look at the replays or whatever, because this could be something that you may want to follow all year long. I know I'm really excited to see her come back. I've never, if they go to plan, they have been talking about, you know, racing her in the North American Cup. It's, you know, I've never seen, you know, a 2-year-old filly that's going to race in the North American Cup as a 3-year-old filly. You know, new for me. Really looking forward to this. So if that's the way it goes down, if not, then maybe she's just going to be the best 3-year-old pacing filly out there. Ooh, that's a shame. Or maybe she's just going to be competitive in against a bunch of really tough ones. Who knows? Either way, Chantilly gave me and the industry huge thrills last year, and I'm kind of hoping that we're going to be seeing the same thing this year with a great filly like that. So congratulations to Nick Gallucci and Millar Farms. You know, best of luck tomorrow morning, and driver James McDonald. I hope you're going to be here, James. Anything happens that you aren't going to be here to go with Chantilly, you know, I'm sure that, well, you can give me a call. I'll sub for you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more too of a few of the other things that are going on tomorrow night. We're going to have the graduate series. That is going to continue for age trotters. It'll be leg 2. We'll get to see some, you know, some real future stars, I would call, especially this guy up in front here with the white socks, really taken in with Paquette. But the horse in on his back there, that's What About Elmo. You know, he had a pretty good run at it with last year too for Paul Reed and Tyler Jones, and that was only his first start. I'm sure he's going to get a little bit more powerful on the end of it, but Paquette is going to be the one that I'm going to be putting most of my focus on. I really do think that this guy could be off to, you know, potentially, you know, Hall of Fame career. He's got the Maple Leaf Trot probably in his wheelhouse this year, and if he can reel off a couple of those in a year, you know, anything could happen with him. Very interesting kind of a horse on that. So on Saturday night, you know, well, it was Friday night, now Saturday night there, we're going to have, you know, some good racing here for you guys. We're going to have a couple of the Ontario Sired Spring Series finals. One's going to be in race 2 for the 3-year-old Payson Colts, going for a purse of $48,000. Race 3, we're going to have the 3-year-old filly Trotters going for $46,000. And in race 6, we're going to get the 3-year-old colt and gelding trotters going for a purse of $46,000. Race 8, we got another Ontario Sire Spring Series. This one for the 3-year-old pacing fillies going for a purse of $47,800. Race 9, not a big preferred, but definitely a really good-looking one. To a lot of different horses, different ways to go in that preferred 2-pace in race number 9. And the race number 12 is going to be the pop-up series final. You're going to have to stick around for that one. But those pop-ups, I find that they always give us good, interesting kind of racing with those. So I think that that's pretty well got it cleaned up. One other thing, big thing of business too, that I'd like to talk a little bit about, and that is the Hall of Fame. The nominations for the Hall of Fame came out a couple of weeks ago, and now we're going to take a look at these people that are lucky enough to get into that Hall of Fame. So we got Brad Grant from Ontario region here. No one really needs to introduce Brad. He's a big part of our business, our game. Ken Oakes from the Maritimes, big wheeler dealer out there. A lot of good things said about Kent Oakes. Congratulations to the Oakes family. Muscle Mass going in, wow, about time. Dave Briggs, another about time there too. Congratulations, Dave. Yankee Paco, so nice to see, and they cut it off a little bit too early, but that was John Bax. I'm so happy to see him in there. Not a big, I don't know a lot of the horses down here. Have heard of Perry Winters. I think he was a jockey from out Western Canada. Mike Doyle, also another name that I know in this area, great trainer from this area. It's not really big on some of the horses, but I do like their names. Ghost Zapper, that's kind of a doozy one there. So anyway, that's what we got to do with the Hall of Fame. So congratulations to everybody that made it into the Hall of Fame. It is not an easy place to get into, but once you're in there, it sure is a lot of fun being there and being around those kinds of people. So congratulations to everybody who made it into the Canadian Horse Racing Hall of Fame. Fantastic way to go, you guys. So let's move on and get into tonight's racing. I think that we're ready to hit the road on that. So let's get into race number 1 and start this night off. Race number 1 is going to be a fillies and mares, 5-year-olds and younger, non-winners of a race, or in our game, we like to call these maidens. In here, we got a 10-horse field. Got a small changes made on the 10-horse French Money Hanover. She's going to take the flip-flops off, go to steel up in front for a shoeing change, make her a little bit quicker on there. It looks like she maybe had some foot problems. Obviously, Sandy Lawrence thinks that that's kind of minded its way, and she's going to go back to the steel shoe. It's going to make her a little bit quicker up tonight, but does unfortunately draw that dreaded 10-hole. Also getting a bridle change too. She's going to go from blind bridle to side rolls tonight on French Money Hanover. My top pick in here is going to be the 6-horse Jeannie T. This is the 4-year-old Ilzogno Dream. Looked like she was off to a pretty good 3-year-old campaign last year. Only the 14 starts, only the 1 win, but it was a pretty good one. 59-4 over Grand River. Also threw in 3/3 in there as well. This one coming from the Vicky Gregg stable. Whenever they bring horses in here to our surface, our track, it just seems like, that they're always part of it. So I'm going to take a chance in here with Jeannie T, but the replay that we're looking at right now is, what is this replay, Ryan? This one is Jeannie T. This is the August 11th or August 12th race, I guess it is. August 1st race last year, and this is her only 1 win, I guess it was, and that is going to be her getting to the wire. So Louis Gregg going to be driving this one tonight. Garnet Barnsdale's got her in for 2nd. Johnny Rallis got her in for 3rd. Gislan not going to be using her in here tonight. I can see that. Green Man's Joy, I think, is going to take the bulk of the wagering support in here. She had a decent campaign last year, but comes out of a very powerful outfit. Danny Legacy picks up James McDonald. Nice looking qualifier for her. Last quarter, 28-1, mile and 2-2. But I would caution, though, she was only at the 1/2 and 4. Now, if somebody sent me out with a unqualified 3-year-old trotting filly and said go down to the 1/2 and 4 and go a mile and 2-2, I'd be pretty happy about that. But just remember, this is no back half in 58 seconds off of a 1/2 in 59 or a minute. She was only at the 1/2 and 4, so she might potentially need 1 too. That's what I'm kind of counting on here, that the 6-horse Jeannie T, with her one qualifier and 1 start under her belt, she could be ready to rock it in here. Where Green Man's Joy, maybe she might need that one start, for the Legacy outfit. She's a Manalishi. Also going to throw her in here as a part of it. She seems to be getting a little bit better. Had a bunch of qualifiers to work with, but that first start, I thought it was a good one. Good wheels on the end of it, 29-1. And in on the bottom, I threw in DA Dream Girl. I must have ran out of green Manalishis to use in here, but this one's a muscle mass. Daddy heading into the Hall of Fame, but DA Dream Girl, I like this one. Breather had her last year, but Jeffrey Thompson's going to have her this year. Murray's still part owner on this one. Had a long time to think about it. August the 22nd was her last charted mile last year, but going to come back and also with a decent kind of a qualifier last quarter, 28 flat mile and 58-2. And Trevor Henry will retain the drive. So let's move on to race number 2. Here we have fillies and mares, maiden pacers, and in this race, my numbers are going to be 3, 1, 9, and 4. And I see the 8 horse. I didn't use this one. This one also coming out of the Breather camp. Huge last quarter in her qualifier, and showed good speed, last year too, a couple of times on the end of it. Couple of quarters in 29. Her last charted line was a qualifier September the 20th, where she ended up pacing a mile in 55-2, last quarter in 28-2. Now comes up with a 57 flat qualifier this season, April the 14th. And, comes up with a good last quarter of 27-1. But there's always a chance that she maybe could need one. I'm going to count on that fact that she does have the outside, and maybe she is going to need one start. Only the one qualifier to go by. It does look like there's 2 there. One was last September. The latest one being in April here. So don't get hung up on that. I'm not going to use her in here, but I can see why a lot of people are. I'm going to go with the 3 horse in here, Tempting. This one coming out of the Sean Stacy outfit. She just had what I would consider to be a kind of a go-around last week. First lifetime start, and she goes out and draws the 10 hole. This is a $67,000 Harrisburg purchase as a 2-year-old. I like both qualifiers that she strung together, especially the last one. Last quarter, 28-4. Louis Waugh races her first start last week, but again, with the 10 hole, just kind of took her back. But she did seem to have some good movement on the end of it. Back half in 55-1, overall mile, 55 flat. And how about the last 3 quarters in there as well? Last 3 quarters, like 123-4 in that area. So that was a very, very good effort out of Tempting in that last one. I'm going to come back to her. American Starlight, going to throw her in on as well. This is a 5-year-old. She's starting to run out of this 5-year-olds and younger non-winners of a race category. So sooner or later, she is going to have to get her nose out there in front. Maybe tonight will be the night. She's just been a little bit camera shy, this girl, because even last year, 18 starts, no wins, but 7 times, almost half of her starts, she got on the board. This year, 8 starts, no wins, but 3 times, almost half of her starts, she's on the board. So I'm going to throw her in for second, but one of these times she will get the job done. 3 horse Gooseberry, going to throw her in as part of it as well. Trevor Henry going to pick up this drive tonight, just so that you guys know out there. Again, Dougie McNair won't be with us tonight. And the 4 horse Century Liberty, going to throw her in on the bottom one. I thought she had a real good qualifier with James McDonald. Her first start, though, had the outside as well, just kind of went to the back, so James coming back in here tonight. Going to move on to race number 3. In here, let's see what qualifier we do have in here for you. Race number 3, we got a trot. 3-year-olds, non-winners of 1. Artful Dodger is going to be our qualifier in here. And we're going to look at that last qualifier of his, April the 18th. I think he's going to be the one taking the most support in here. He doesn't show much on paper last season, 8 starts, 1 second, but there were some 4ths and 5ths and other times that he actually looked like he wasn't that far away from being a gold colt. And you do see where he did make the super final. He did score enough points. It just seemed like towards the end of his season last year, he was just starting to tire a little bit. So let's take a look at this qualifier. Excuse me. I say it's a good one. He didn't do much the first 3 quarters, but, that's kind of James's tell. He gets him out here now, and look at the body language on James. All he did right there was just basically move the whip up so that the horse could maybe sense it, see it, and look at the wheels that he's got on the end of it. Really looks good in here. Not going to be on the Lasix program. You see, last year he was racing on the Lasix. He's coming off the Lasix on here, but nice qualifier in there. I'm going to lone wolf it on Industrialist. I like this one of Herbie Holland's. Again, you know, only the one start here to go by, but I thought it was a good one. And 0 for 10 so far this year. This is a Muscle Hill out of a Donato mare, and I think at some point we are going to see this one in the winner's circle, and maybe tonight. So I'm going to take a chance with the 2-horse for a price, but the 6-horse I would imagine is going to take a lot of looks in there, and Garnett's going to use him up on top. Gislan going to use him up on top. Me and John Rollis going to use him in for second. John's going to go with the Barracuda. Now, I got the Barracuda in for fourth, but interesting horse here. You know, he seemed to me like he was just starting to get a little bit better, but then last week there, he kind of self-destructed on the end of it. We've seen him have those issues before. So, you know, he was a naughty boy, going to get the pants back on. Hobbles are going to go back on the Barracuda tonight, and Tyler Borth going to be picking up the drive on this one. James, his regular driver, he's going to stick with Artful Dodger. Dougie McNair listed, not going to be here tonight. So Tyler Borth picking up the drive on the Barracuda. Don't know if he drove him at all last year. He could have, coming out of the Gerard Demers stable, but Tyler's one of those kinds of drivers that I think he's going to instantly adjust. So Barracuda, hobbles on, Borth on, could be a bit of a play, but I'm going to stick with the 2-horse in here, followed up by the 6 Artful Dodger. In race number 4, back on the trot, fillies and mares, non-winners of 2 races. This is the opening leg of your pick 6, if you're looking to play that one tonight. I'm going to go with Lisbon in here, the 5-horse. This is a 3-year-old tactical landing filly, $375,000 Lexington purchase. They've waited on her. Obviously, she didn't do anything as a 2-year-old, but so far the weight has worked out to their advantage. 2 qualifiers. You know, 2-7 the first one, followed up by 2-3 in the next one. Then she's a winner in 2-4, her first start here. You can just imagine how bad the weather and the track was there then. Heads over to Flamborough with a nice win there in 2-3. Comes back here with another nice win. Let's take a look at this one. Now, it was April the 3rd. She is giving up a little bit of a date, but my goodness, I mean, she's 3 for 3, $375,000 purchase, has done nothing wrong so far, and the barn that she comes out of, the ownership group on her, a determination Serge Godin, I mean, you know, he will wait forever on these things, and I think that this one's going to pay off this year. So Lisbon, definitely, you know, she does some battling in this race here. I thought it was a good one. Bright Green on the outside of her. I thought at one point Bright Green was heading on by, and just could not do it. She was not going to let them by, and I think that was Roxy Hart that was making the break on the outside, and she come back with a big effort. So I think Lisbon is really showing us that she's got some, you know, big things to prove this year. In for second, I got Cadiddle. Unfortunately for her, she is going to draw the outside. She's going to come up with a win here very, very soon, but I'm going to throw her in for second tonight. And in for third, Beer Sunshine and Deo. Second start for the Susie Kerwood outfit. I thought the first one was a good one. And Bright Green. You know, this is the one that went toe-to-toe with Lisbon in that qualifier, or that replay that we showed you. She wasn't able to get by Bright Green, but she gave her a heck of a battle. She came back her next start, come up with a real nice fourth in there, trotting a mile in 56. Get some changes tonight. The 4-horse Bright Green going to go from steel to aluminum in front. So Eric Nadeau going to quicken up this daughter of Green Manalishi tonight, but I'm going to stay with the 5-horse Lisbon in here. So let's move on to race number 5. And we're going to go back to the pace. Fillies and mares, 5-year-olds and younger, non-winners of a race again. So YS Flower number 10, I used her up on top in her last start. I have no issues with the way that she raced. I thought it was a really good one. I thought she raced great the week before. Coming from the 9-hole. So I think that she is on great form right now. How about that last quarter? 26-4, but just could not get by a really, really tough Mai Tide coming out of the Ben Hollingsworth stable for Bobby McClure. I think Bobby had a big night that night, win a bunch of races that night, but my goodness, Mai Tide looked good. So I'm going to come back with YS Flower number 10, picking up James McDonald. This is going to be second start for Joe Pereira, recently moving from the Matt Dupuis stable into Joe Pereira. So second start for Joe. I thought the good one was, the first one was a real good one. Let's take a look at a couple of the other ones. In for second, I got this 9-horse Cobra Kate. My goodness, I mean, she can really travel a lot of ground out there. I don't know where this story is all going to end when it comes to an end. But right now, she has really got my ears up. She has got some serious ability, this one. Don't know if we're going to see a winner's circle victory tonight from the 9-hole for Phil Houdon. I mean, he's got a couple of nice horses tonight there to race, this being one of them, Cadiddle being another, but unfortunately, he is drawing the outside with a few of them, and the outside always makes things a little bit tougher. But Cobra Kate, you know, we'll talk a little bit more about her, but I love the way that she's kind of progressing along. The 5-horse Forever After All is the replay that we're going to show you on this one. I thought that this was kind of what I would look at as a bit of a troubled trip. You know, she got away kind of towards the back. Bad night that night with the racing, the sloppy track to boot, but still ends up with a nice second in here. James McDonald going with her. I'll bet you that anything, James would really love to have had one more try in behind this one, but Louis Waugh going to pick her up tonight. James going to go with my top pick, YS Flower, number 10. And we're going to see, really, of anybody out there, she's the only one making up ground on the end of it. You can see her down here on the inside. And Louis not really asking her to do a whole lot, or I mean, James is not really asking her to do a whole lot down in there. By that time, My Mom's an Ace was gone. He knew it, so there wasn't really any use in trying to empty her out to finish second beat a length when you can do it easy, finishing second beat 6 lengths. Paycheck's the same. So 3 horses a sweep in this race. A lot of us also going to use the 9 in here. Cobra Kate, Just Land going to go to the 4. Amazing Wish. Let's talk a little bit about Amazing Wish. She's going to get some bridle change in here tonight. She's going to go from blinkers to a blind bridle for Eric Nadeau. I thought that she put up a good effort in her last back half in 55 seconds overall mile, 54 and 3. You know, that was her second start back of the year. I think that there's going to be big improvement for her this season as well. Fluid, I didn't use this start. Did use her in her last one there. You know, she didn't race bad in any way whatsoever, but she is going to draw the rail in here tonight. Not really sure how tough they're going to want to be on Fluid, but I'm just going to take a wait and see on her. But my numbers in race number 5, 3, 9, 5, and 4. Let's move on to race number 6. This is the start of your late pick 5. Races 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. In this one, I'm going to go with Pam. You know, I think that James Dean did a really good job with her, but unfortunately, he's not going to get to see how this story is going to end. He was racing her in the 20 claimers. He moved her down into the 8,000 claimers. She raced good her first start, and then the next time, boom, she was snapped up. And sometimes that's what happens when you take a horse that's been in the same barn. And, you know, and especially a barn like James Dean's, everybody knows that the quality care that this filly has gotten has just been A1. Probably the only 2 stables that she's been in up to this point is probably Doc Moore and James Dean. So the quality of care that she's gotten is A1. So sometimes when you're out there looking to claim a horse, these are the horses that you're looking for. Not necessarily you're always looking to improve them. Sometimes you're looking to have them just as good, but what you're getting is a horse that hasn't had it, you know, hasn't been overdone with. They haven't been trained to death, you know, those kinds of situations. And I think that that's what we're getting here with Pam. So could end up being a pretty nice claim for Joe Pereira. I'm going to ride with him tonight and take a shot with her. Now, the replay that we're going to show you is the 7 horse in here, Jazzville. And the reason that I'm showing her this replay, got her in for second. So many times I've said to you guys, you know, about racing these horses up the inside. And I think sometimes people think, well, you're giving up too much ground. Now, at this point, would anybody think that Trevor Henry at this point is going to get through? I would say no, because the horse that's first over is still moving forward. He's behind a wall of horses. I just want you to see how fast these horses can move. Now, we're well past the last 1/8 of a mile. She's going to come a quarter in 28 seconds, and it's all the last 16th. I say she come a last 16th in about 6 seconds. Look at that. What a move Jazzville put on. Another Huntsville that gets buried up and seems to have huge wheels on the end of it. Now, you know, can Trevor do the same trip again? I say that he can do it. You know, I'm going to take a chance here. I think that she is going to take quite a bit of support. Garnet and Johnny Rawlis both have her up on top. I'm going to go with Pam. I'm going to keep her in there for second, Jazzville, because I think that if he tries it, you know, from the outside of the race, I don't think that she's, from the outside of the flow, I don't see the move being quite the same. I've seen this with these Huntsville horses, mares especially, that if you know, lock them in like that, they have a vicious move on the end of it that a horse just can't hold off. So, you know, maybe she can come back, Jazzville. I'm going to throw her in for second. Pam is going to be the way that I'm going to go. Late pick 5 in this one, and my numbers 4, 7, 10, 2, starting off that late pick 5. So let's move on to race number 7, which is going to be the start of our late pick 4. And we also have a replay to show you in here, and that is going to be of the 6-horse Stars Treasure. This is the April 18th line. I would consider this to be a little bit of a, you know, troubled kind of a trip, I guess you would say. But I wanted to show you this trip because I think that this horse has got some serious go. And I think that if Todd had been able to get him through here, or if he gets him through maybe tonight, he's another horse that's got a vicious, vicious move on the end of it. And, you know, he could end up getting all the money here tonight. Last week, he goes off at the tune of 62 to 1. Look at the way that he ends up racing. And this is the reason why I'm showing this to you guys. If he makes the same move, there's always a chance that he could come up with the same kind of an effort for him. Does start to tail, you know, flatten out a little bit in here, but my goodness, that is a huge move that he puts together in the third quarter, 27-3, follows it up with a next quarter, 27-3, back half and 55-1. That is a big, big back half. I think that there's a chance that he could maybe pull off the same move tonight, and if he is, he's going to be a big part of this one. But World Revival is the way that I'm going to go in here. I used this horse many times this last in the wintertime, racing against much better horses than this. I'm a bit of a believer. He's got a big, big move on the end of it. If Anthony can apply it at the right time, I think World Revival can also come up with a big effort. And right now, it looks like I'm going to lone wolf it with this guy. Stars Treasure, John Rawlis on this one, you know, big time. That's the beauty of Rawlis. He doesn't miss too much, but I think that he also could come up with a big effort in here. But World Revival is the way that I'm going to go. Let's go Anthony Hahn. Moving on to race number 8, and we're going to go back onto the trot. This 3-year-old non-winners of race, this lifetime on the trot. So a short field here, just down to a field of 8 in here. We'll be needing a driver for the 2-horse Checkmaster for Herbie Hall, and no Doug McNair tonight. 1 horse, Call Me Parker, is the way that I'm going to go. We're also going to show you the replay of that last start. I threw him up on top last start. You know, I knew that there was a chance that that's the only time I was going to kind of catch some kind of a price on this guy. He puts together some pretty good lines last year. You can see that 43,000, didn't win a race, but raced against some pretty tough competition. You know, he had a 4th at Grand River and a gold. Finished 6th here in a gold, but in against You Got It, Kemp, and then in the super final, and unfortunately made a break going out of there. But look in the super final, he was 16 to 1 in the super final, so he was taking a little bit of looks in that race. I thought this was a real good effort. You can see Tyler Borth going to come on the outside with this 2-horse. James makes a break with Barracuda, and this guy starts to move forward, this Ben Bergeron trainee, and really he just goes around the rest of them like they're not even there. I think that there's going to be a big improvement in here. Unfortunately, does draw the rail. I'm not a big fan of the rail, but I don't really think it's going to matter where he gets him away. I think he's going to come up with a big effort in here, and John Rawlis also going to go Call Me Parker. Get the Green, I got him in for second. Garnet and Gisland going to use him up on top. I could see that. James McDonald teaming up with Roger Mayotte. And Kamagami Matt got this green shoe in on the bottom, but I thought, again, not a bad effort in that last qualifier. 2-1, only a mile and 2-1, but a good last half in 57-4. So going to take a look at this 3-year-old green shoe colt of Jean Tierney's. So in race number 8, 1, 6, 2, and 4 is the way that I see it. So let's move on to race number 9. In here, we got a one that is streaking right now, and that is the 8-horse Superior Delight. And I see we got a driver change on this one. Trevor Henry will be picking up the drive on Superior Delight. And I would have to say that Trevor would be pretty happy about picking this one up. She looks like she is going to be ultra competitive in this race. She's going to be my top pick. Fox Valley Tatum, I got her in for second. I think she's racing very, very well for Amy Houston right now. My Last Kiss, also a horse that's racing extremely well right now for Julie Walker and James McDonald. This is going to be James's 4th try with My Last Kiss. Had a win with her already and racing very, very well. Grand Circuit coming back over to our circuit. One race over at Flamborough, and it was a good one there in 56. Going to throw her in on the bottom there. Let's take a quick look at this board there. Yeah, a lot of us are going to go Superior Delight. Garnet and Gisland going to look to beat her with Grand Circuit coming back over here again. John Rollis in for second. Now, he's got the one-horse Job Hunter. Now, I've used this one multiple times. I didn't use her in here tonight, but it's not because I don't like her. And another thing, she's another one of these Huntsville. And I think that if Jeff Hunt is able to find that same kind of an inside trip that we saw, with Jazzville, I think she can pull off the same kind of an effort. I like the way when Jeff doesn't over-race her a little bit. I always find that she's got good movement on the end of it. And I like the way that Jeff Hunt, he does his racing. 38 starts this year, 8 times a winner. So up over, that 20% that you like to see, and driving at a 309 as well. Athletic kind of a guy, and he could be making a case for himself as a catch driver as well. Again, I didn't use her in here tonight. I like the way that she raced in that last start. I think that Jeff's on to the right way to race her. Rollis must have liked her as well because he moved her in for second in here tonight. And again, she was 17-1 in that last start. I think she's worth taking a look at if the board is agreeable. And let's move on to the last race of the night, which is going to be the 10th race. And we have one more replay to show you, and that is going to be of the 6-horse Play the Ace. This one coming from the Gerard Demers stable. Picked up April the 7th in London by Gerard Demers, and this is going to be his first start with James. James is going to come back in this effort. I like this one. I thought this was a really, really good effort that this one put out, but he's in kind of tough. I played a late pick 5, and you want to know the truth, this isn't the leg that I singled, or that I alled, but I was taking a look at this one. I think this is an extremely tough bunch. So let's take a look. Play the Ace, James McDonald making his move down to the inside, and has good movement on the end of it. Raced good in his last start at London. Also had good movement on the end of it. But a couple of these other ones, Bet 19, has 2 wins in a row now for J.F. McGuire. Tough stable. Louis Waugh driving this one. I got him in for second. In for third, Here's That Man Again, a horse that I've been religiously playing. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that this horse was able to win the 30 claimer. So down in these 8,000 claimers, he gets the right kind of trip, or he has the right kind of a night. He's going to be tough in here at all points. I'm going to be staying with him for a while, using him as down in below. 7-horse Forefather, I got him in for 4th. Big effort last week by this guy from the 9-hole. Look at that last quarter, 26-3. You're not going to see too much of that in here. A couple of horses did come 26 on the end of it, Play the Ace, but 26-3, big quarter, and this guy can do it week in and week out. We know that. He just has to mind his manners, but J.R. Plant gets along good with him. And in on the bottom, I have Better Than Pride, the other horse of Gerard Demers. Some people may be using Better Than Pride up ahead of the Play the Ace. And I don't necessarily say is that I blame them. I think that he's also a horse that's on great form right now. Was a winner 2 down, and last week he was 4th, but only beaten a length. Jody Jamieson coming back. He's drove him in his last 2 starts, had good luck with him. So he's going to be tough in here too. That's what I'm saying. This last race is a really, really tough one. But my numbers, if you're looking to play that jackpot high 5, and we do have a carryover right now of $32,000 plus, whatever the live money goes into it tonight. But my numbers 6, 9, 2, 7, and 8 for that 10th race. So let's move on to plays of the night. And being that I'm here all by myself, I guess I am going to go first. And here we go. So in race number 1, I'm going to start it off with Jeannie T. She's going to be my beat the fave. I think the 7-horse Green Man's Joy is going to take a lot of looks in there. So I'm going to put her in as my beat the fave, but I like the way that she raced in that last start at Flamborough, first start back. Worth a look is going to be World Revival. and that is going to come along in race number 7. Has the rail for Meg Crone and driver Anthony Hahn. Big movement on the end of it, this guy, when he is into his game. All in is going to be Call Me Parker in race number 8. I think that after that trip last week, he is ready to come up with a big effort in here tonight for the combination of Borth and Bergeron. And my Waples watch is going to be in race number 10, the race that we just showed you, and that is going to be Play the Ace. So we got a couple of other of our resident handicappers here. John Rollis, spot play comes along in race number 8 with Something in Blue. Ghislaine is going to have race number 6 with A Knock at the Door. That's going to be Dolly Daydream for JF McGuire. I could see that one. She's getting real close to a big win tonight too. Louis Waugh, I think, is driving her tonight. And GB is going to come with Jazzville. Very nice one in there as well, Garnet. You know, if Trevor can pull off that same kind of a rabbit out of the hat that he pulled off last week, who can hold her off? And maybe she can do it from the outside of the track as well. But that's how we see racing tonight. And we'll be back to talk to you before race number 1. Don't go anywhere, because we will be here waiting for your return.